to start.
Go Ben.
All right, take one of these. On the top of that is actually the instructions or the steps that I'm using. And on the page after that is actually the PowerPoint presentation that you can follow along. Let's see here. Got 3 more? Good. Exactly 3 more. Pass those down there. Here. Do you have enough?
Okay.
You do? All right. Let's start, shall we? Good afternoon. My name is Ben Brown. I'm the CEO and Chairman of 360 Sales Consulting. 360 Sales Consulting is a sales consulting firm actually based in Clearwater, Florida. And what we do specifically is just sales consulting. No business, no internet, no social media. And the reason we came about is that I noticed over the last couple of years that people in college, they have all of these different degrees and different things that they have that they've been taught, but nobody knows how to sell as much anymore. Coming from a background, I have 16 years of sales experience as a sales manager, salesperson, sales trainer, and also sales motivator. So I developed the different processes that I've used over the last years to combine in a good sales, simple sales process that can help people learn how to sell. Small businesses today, actually anything that you do in life is sales. Whether you're married, the kids sell you, they're constantly repetitious sales, where they ask you 20 times and finally you give up. That's a sale. So sales is a key point for most entrepreneurs. They don't understand the concept of what it is. So what we do is break down a simple process instead of a weekend or a $6,000 course. Is give you different processes that you use and philosophies on why you do them. And if you understand that, then you'll use them to actually benefit you more. The purpose of the presentation that we have is promote sales solution process. Also, we're going to help entrepreneurs refine their sales skills. A lot of people are good in marketing, they're good in accounting, they're good in social media, but they're not good in sales. And sales is where you make your money. And a lot of businesses, they have everything signed, but they don't have sales. If you don't have money, you're not in business. Also, we're going to illustrate proper techniques at the same time. That's also going to increase your sales and also save you time for your customers, which a lot of people have. Now, the purpose of a sales process is actually to educate the people on the process on how to move the prospect from being interested into using your product and actually being happy. You should give the salesperson the ability to know that they're in a sales process. At any given time, you should know exactly where you're at in that process when you're talking to a prospect. If I stop you and I say, where you're at? Are you qualifying now? Are you setting up the presentation? Are you in your presentation? Are you getting ready to close? I should stop any salesperson anytime and stop and say where you're at. If you don't know where you're at in your sales process, you're just winging it. And most salespeople, they just talk themselves until the prospect finally says, I give up, here's my credit card. Now also, with the sales process, you're saving time, and we emphasize where those come in the sales process. Now the first part of the sales process that we have is called an introduction. This is where you actually introduce yourself, whether by phone or person to person. This is a key component. Preparation also goes into part of this as well, where you thoroughly do research. You have all the internet actions where you can find people whether they like tennis, golf. You should know your prospect before you get there now. You have the ability to do research on it. You also should make your prospects relax and understand you're there to actually help. The key component for sales now is not like it was back in the 50s and 60s where people used to hammer you on the close. The prospects now are educated. They can research you. They know if you're good now. So you actually have to, people don't buy from you if they don't like you. So you actually have to have some introductory skills to let them know what you're doing. Now also, the key component for our sales process is that you must complete each process first before you move to the next step. That's the key component. Don't assume that you finish that step. That's why a lot of people get into trouble. If you don't properly introduce yourself and understand the prospect is there and relax, don't move to the next step. That's where you get confused. The next step is qualification. This is a key component. How many people have been in sales before? Sales? Okay. How many times you talk to a prospect and at the end of the close you find out you weren't talking to the right person? How many times that happened? Quite a bunch.
Enough.
Right. You wasted your time setting that prospect up, spending time with them. And then you get to the close and you realize they may not be the decision maker. They're not even the one holding. So what's going to happen when they tell you that they're not the decision maker, they tell you somebody else, they're going to re-pitch what you pitch, but it's not going to be accurate. So what kind of pitch are they going to give? So when you call that person back, how many times you call back and you find out, oh, we're not interested? It's because that person re-pitched your pitch to the decision maker, and you didn't know that. So you lost that sale just because you didn't qualify. Qualification is to ensure the prospect needs your product. Make sure the prospect has the ability to purchase your product and also has the funds. Don't talk to a prospect if they don't have money. You should know this before you even get into the pitching about your product. This is your product. If they don't have the money to buy your product, why would we get into a pitch? You're wishing instead of pitching. Now also, you do not move to the next step until you have 100% confidence the prospect is qualified. Do not go to the next step. That's the key component for sales. If I ask you, based on what we talked about, this product runs around about $1,000, you can pre-qualify on price. If it's everything that you want, would you be able to afford that today? The prospect comes to you, I don't even have the money for that. So why would you even go to the next step? So even if we did drop it to $800, I don't even have $800. So I'm spending time with you in another 30 minutes of presentation, and at the end, he doesn't even have the money. So why would I pitch? My job is to get to a qualified prospect that I can help. If they don't have the money, tell them when you can come back for it. That's the key. This is the key point. The next step is the emotional purpose of a sale. Emotional means is that most people buy emotionally. They don't buy based on price, they buy based upon what they need and what they emotionally need. This is a key component for sales that a lot of people don't have in their process. So if I tell you that, hey, you're coming down to buy a car, for example, great, what kind of car are you looking for? What are you going to do with the car? Well, I need a car for my family. Why do you need a car for your family? Well, maybe we have another kid coming. Okay, so you need a room for your kid. How long have you been looking? So what, and then also you can do the negative. What happens if you don't get this car? Well, if you don't get the car. So what you're using is that in specific amount of processes and actually asking specific questions, you'll find out the emotional reason why that prospect needs that product. That helps you tag him along and pull him along in the sales process if he ever wanes, because you go back to that. You need the car because your wife needs you because you got a baby car, right? Right. So you really need this, right? So let me continue on with my pitch. So you can use it like a bull with a ring to pull him through the rest of the prospect of the sales process so you can get his attention anytime he wanes. Now also, once you have this, you can blow it up. So wow, I understand it, and that will make you more money. What are you going to do with the money? Well, we're looking to buy another house. What are you going to do with the house? We're going to add another piece on. Great. Tell me what that's going to be like. Well, we're looking at a bathroom, the extra. What colors the walls? Get him to visualize what the goal he's going to get with your product by advantage. Money, opportunity, time, all emotional values why you buy. You buy because it makes you look better. Why does it look better? Because I need a new boyfriend. I want to, okay, so you use that as an emotional aspect to find out, oh, so now I know why you want this product. Not because it makes you look good, because you want to impress your boyfriend. So it takes a little bit of digging. Now, once you get that, now you set up the presentation. This is the key component as well. Each step builds upon the other. The next step is set up the presentation. You get 100% agreement that the prospect wants their problem solved. Make sure, if this product does exactly what I say, everything that you basically need, can we move forward with this today? No. Why not? I want to know why. Because I'm not going to go into my 30, 40-minute presentation, depending on whatever product I have, until I realize that he has a problem that I can solve. This is one thing that people pitch and wish. You just pitched and maybe some, close. Find out why. Slow it down a little bit. Your process should be there. Let the process work itself, and you'll get the sale, because most of the sale that you're doing in this process is up front. The close should be easy. Also, interested in finding out how he can solve that problem. Now, this is also a time saver. Don't move on into you figure out to set up the presentation. Don't go. Most people just and don't assume. If you assume, you're going to be wrong. Now, the key for a presentation, most people do presenting. It's 15-minute, 20-minute, 30-minute presentation, doesn't matter. They say, oh, the presentation is to sell the product. No, the presentation is for you to get buying signals and yes patterns in order to build momentum towards close. That's the purpose of a presentation. To find out When I actually give you the advantages of my product, that you like the product, you can use the product, and get the yeses that I need in order to build momentum towards the close. You want that close to be as smooth as possible. So you did all the work up front. He's qualified, set up the presentation, he's there. You haven't moved. Now you're presenting. Now your job is on. So once you go through the presentation, your key is to listen to him as you pitch. To figure out, yeah, he's starting to like what you have. Now, the next key in the product is yes patterns. Yes patterns get the client to agree to the benefits of the product. And that's where you don't just always pitch. You always go, and that's what you really want, right? Yeah. And if that does that, that's what you really want, yeah. So he's just continuing to say yes. If you get your client to continually say yes, it's hard to say no in the close. Buying signals. The key component in training is to make sure the rep understand what a buying signal is. When they come back to you and say, what color does it come in? How big? How long does it take to get delivery? When he starts giving you questions or feedback like that, that's buying signals. That's letting you know it's time to head towards the close. Most people will continue on with the pitch because they're so structured. They'll move past the pitch to clients bored. You could have called me 30 minutes ago, but you're still pitching. And it's very easy. If you ever get in doubt during this whole process, there's two things that you should do. Ask a question or ask for the close. Because the close will tell you what you have. So what card do you want to put it on? You can say that anytime you do a presentation. What? You got his attention now, right? So that's what the emotional purpose is for. And that's what you really want. Once you get toward the end, you get an agreement, close on product concept. This is the key. Another is when you state the statement like, so based upon what we talked about, this is exactly what you need and exactly what you want, correct? So you get an agreement from the client. Yes, yes, close me. Yes, I'm getting there. And you're assuring. This is for people when you use this process. You don't have to be a hard sale or a hard closer because you've done the work up front. Don't assume the client is confident that this is their solution. You ask them. You get the feedback from the client. Don't assume, yeah, he's been, you get the feedback that you want from him. That's the key important part. This is how you lose money because most of the reps during this time will get scared. This is where they drop in price. They're thinking, oh, I'm at $2,000, I can drop to $1,500 and get this guy. People don't buy on price most of the time. They buy on emotion. So if you solve the problem, you get toward the end and you're dropping your price, you're losing money. Money that you already could have had. That's your commission. That's your structure. So most people think, oh, first objection. Well, I may be able to get it lower. How many times you heard that right off the bat? Well, I've got to think about it. Well, what if I can get it down $500? Car salesman type deal. But you're there to buy the car. You know the car. It's not the price. Next step is price and terms. You set the price and terms. You're the salesperson. You own the actual product. This is the most scary step, and they don't 100%. Close on price and terms. And then when you actually state it, $1,500, what card do you want to put it on? Most people don't close. Ask for the sale. I get this most of the time for the people. Ask for the sale. You've done the work. Ask. But people are scared. That's why you do the work up front. So when you get toward the end, ask for the money. You're spending your time getting a product. You should be paid back in results for it. Ask for the money. What card do you want to put in? This way you really need to be confident. Also important steps early on, like I said before, to give you everything that you need so you can close on that product concept. So the structure and how everything is set up is that if you do each step and you make sure you complete each step before you move on, it's an easy process. It's just the understanding of letting people understand the psychology behind it. So if you understand it, it's not something that's written down, it's in your head. Oh, I need to go to price and terms right now because I'm ready. Now most people think that once the deal is done, it's done. Here's the key component where the work comes in and saves you time. Money collecting, product ship. After you get the credit card, you still have a job to do. You must make sure that the product is shipped, the card is paid off, the PO, the check was bound, because the deal's not done until the money clears. How many times you went at it and the money did not clear? The check didn't go in because you didn't finish the process. And you're upset about the prospect, but that's actually your job as well, to make sure that they happen. Now also, sometimes when the credit card don't run, next thing you know, you're making phone calls, you're trying to find out what happened, or the bank didn't clear. So that's more time. In each one of these steps, you're saving time, you're helping the customer, because that time you just spend on getting more clients, being more productive, pitching people who's qualified, things of that nature. The key component. Tris, do you know where I'm at?
4 minutes.
4 minutes? Great. Mine went off, sorry. The key here And one of the important things that we teach is ask for referrals. We're in network groups. We're also in network marketing groups. A lot of people on Twitter, they're on Facebook, they're interconnected with a number of different components, whether friends, family, business people, advisory groups. The best time to ask for a client for a referral is right after you sell it. Because they are no more sold on that product than right at that time that they just gave you the money to pay for it. Not down the road, not down the line. They open their wallet. They don't even do that with family members and actually giving you money. So that means that they trust you and trust the product. So at that time, if they trust you at that high point, your job in the process is to ask them, who besides yourself did you know can utilize this product? The key component here is saving time. You will be on Facebook, Twitter, trying to find clients, customers all day long to get to your next customer. Your next customer is off that referral because that person will refer you. You don't have to close as hard because you'll get toward the end and you'll say, well, Bob just bought one 3 months ago. Well, Bob bought one, shoot, I want one too. That saves you time from prospecting. That saves you time from cold calling. It saves you time and it builds a network, a community. Because you can come back and say, well, Bob and Jim bought one. Oh, great, I'll get one too. Because how many times you've been to somebody's house and they bought something and you looked at it and you're like, I'm going to get one too. So if they're going to use it and trust you, their friends will too. So that saves you a tremendous, at least 30% time you'll get in revenue if you ask for referrals. So you don't have to pitch. There's many a car salesman that's out there that don't even go for ups, which is waiting for new customers. They have so many clients.